keep this.
Okay, Keith Guerra, Director of Public Safety, is going to discuss this matter.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to first thank those board members that did attend the community presentation on tasers. It was definitely eventful, to say the least. However, since then, I've received several calls from several folks in the community, some who were present at the meeting, some who were not, with comments, concerns, and questions on both sides of the discussion. And what I try to be consistent with is the fact that I'm not on a mission to force tasers down anyone's throats. My mission is, and has always been, to try to operate the public safety department in a very progressive and professional manner. And so with the events that have taken place, and most of the questions that kind of rang a bell for me were, well, you know, this is a very safe island, and we don't feel like we really need tasers here because it's so safe, and we're doing a great job keeping crime down, and so we really don't feel that we need tasers. But what I said to a few of those people, and what I have thought about, is, you know, the movie theater in Colorado was also a safe place too. You never know when something is going to happen. You never know when a tragedy is going to occur. So my position is to try to be as equipped and as trained as possible. That being said, some of the comments that I received were that, and this actually came from a board member of the corporation, is that maybe we can start off slower rather than equipping all of the officers and training all of the officers in the use of Taser, that we start by just training and equipping the supervisors. And I thought about that concept and talked to some folks that I knew in the industry, as well as some folks from the NYPD, and that's how they did it. And most of the smaller departments, including the Danbury Police Department, which was represented at the meeting, they did it that way as well. They started with the supervisors being equipped with it. They felt like the supervisors are already pretty much the cream of the crop, those that are more mature, those that are more trained and experienced, and started with them. In some cases, the various police departments went a step further and then went forward and equipped the other officers, and in some, they just chose to keep it with the supervisors. So my position has changed in that I feel that it is probably a better way to go with regard to equipping the supervisors with the tool, as well as the training that goes along with the tool. In this way, in the event of an incident where a taser is needed, a supervisor would have to be called, and the supervisor would then respond to the scene where the officers are, and hopefully it not be too late in whatever the type of incident that there was. And so that's what I wanted to bring to the committee, is that, you know, maybe it would be more prudent for the corporation to isolate the training and the distribution of this tool that is very effective to the supervisors only at this time, and then should it work for a while, whatever that time frame is, then move to train and equip other officers that would also have to go through that training and, of course, pass the training in order to carry the tool. And if the corporation felt like, you know what, I think it's best that we just keep it with the supervisors, then that will be fine too, because I feel that something in this case would definitely be better than nothing. So I bring that to you, the committee, to see what kind of feedback you guys have with regard to that, and welcome any questions.
We had asked you for some information, like some specifics on the incidents.
Yes.
And we didn't get those yet.
I have it here. I can go over it. The question, as posed to me in an email that was forwarded, was the committee wanted to know, with regard to the injuries to the officers, were those injuries a part of an actual arrest? And I went back and looked
Well,
up.
it wasn't so much were they part of an actual arrest, but
Meaning
what
what
exactly
caused
were the
it?
specifics? What
Yes.
caused them to be injured? What were they doing at the time?
Okay, so I can go over various.
I don't know if we want to do that now. I mean, it's up to you, but do you want to go over this? I thought we were going to get
First
take
of
a
all,
look at it.
I'd like
And
to
that's fine, I can forward it to you.
Excuse me. I mentioned that from the board of directors. As do I, and I want you to chair too.
Yes.
Say for our Christian. Well, it's a complex matter. I see plenty of reasons to harm our people, whatever is necessary to protect them, but I also know that the nature of our process here, the way we live here, they haven't needed tasers in the past, or at least I don't have a sense that a whole lot of incidents would have been averted if they were armed with tasers. In fact, we're already the safest community in Queens, according to a meeting I attended recently. What you said?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the lowest crime sector in the borough of Queens, even though.
Our public safety people do it, but there's an assumption that well, of course, we're Roosevelt Island anyway, it wouldn't be, but to understand our demographic, to look at our entire demographic fairly and openly, it's actually an astonishing good job that your people are doing, keeping the crime rate as low as it is. There are troubled individuals in my building. In fact, your officers were at my next door neighbors twice in a day, I think that's Saturday. Things happen that I'm aware of, I see with my eyes. So that's why I say people are doing a great job. I'm going to disregard the mention of the Aurora movie theater, only because, not because I have anything but the greatest sympathy for the people who were killed there and injured there.
Absolutely.
Of course I do, and it's a horrible, horrible event. But beyond imaginable. But in fact, that's the thing of the moment. Something happens and we tend to respond to it, whether or not it statistically or in fact directly affects us or not. So it's not that I don't understand the kind of fuss we can have when we see something like this happen if we're safe enough. But it's not something that I feel we necessarily have to respond to per se. It is part of the picture.
Absolutely. And the reason that the taser concept has come up now as opposed to in the past is because in the last 4 years, an average of 10 officers are being injured while effecting arrests. And the other reason was that in the last year and a half, we made 2 arrests that involved an actual firearm, neither of which was used in a crime, thankfully, but nonetheless were recovered and vouchered and added to the case file. So those are the reasons why it has come up now as opposed to in the past. And as I indicated in the presentation, if the officers and their union had their way, they would push for firearms as opposed to the taser. And during my presentation, I indicated that the taser falls between the OC spray and the baton, which they are already equipped with. And you know, I think what happens is sometimes folks get the sense of, well, someone can actually get hurt if they are actually tased. And no one, including me, is avoiding that. The fact remains that, yes, someone could get hurt if they're tased. However, they could get hurt if there's a strike with their baton. They could get hurt if if there's hydraulic needle effect with regard to the OC spray. One resident indicated to me, well, the taser is listed as a non-lethal weapon, and it could hurt someone. And I indicated to that resident, absolutely, so can a screwdriver, so can a baseball bat, so can, other tools that are used for different instances. If the tools are used properly, be it a screwdriver, be it a baseball bat, be it a taser, then that, of course, minimizes the opportunity for an accident to occur. The ultimate goal here is to provide safety not only to the officers but also to the community in the form that the subjects will avoid injury. And the biggest part of the presentation when they presented to me was the fact that now more than ever, in 75% of the cases, the taser does not have to be discharged at all. Just the mere presence of showing it, the red dot application, and the actual the pressing of the button that shows the charge within the cartridges is enough to gain compliance from the subjects that are non-compliant / combative. And when you're able to gain compliance without even discharging it, that of course adds to the increase in safety for the officers as well as the subjects.
I just want to note that Dr. Kathy Grimm, another board member, was joining us.
So if the board would like, I can forward this data to you. You will see that in each of the cases, there's an injury to an officer that has something to do with the subjects being combative or resisting or fleeing in nature. And I have no issue with forwarding this to you. I also have a copy of each and every incident report. I don't know that you guys want us to have that email to you, but I have it in the event that you'd like to read or know about a full narrative where the description is indicated for each incident that is documented by date and
Why don't we
location.
start with just the summary, and then if we want to see the incident reports behind any individual one.
Absolutely.
But I also want to see statistics on, there's a lot more lawsuits now than ever before from tasers. I want to see those as compared to batons as opposed to pepper sprays.
Okay, I can't provide that data because Taser's legal department has access to that. But what I can provide is an answer to a question that I asked, and the response that I received, because basically I asked the question, which was, I personally, I posed it as I need to know a little bit more of the negative aspects of lawsuits and notice of claims and things of that nature, even though I know it's the position of the board, but I feel responsible to ask that it be my question or request for information so that I can gain the proper information that you seek. And the answer I got was Taser has been a party to numerous lawsuits over the years, and to date, Taser has been either voluntarily dismissed or dismissed after filing successful motions in 164 product liability lawsuits here in the U.S. There are very few where Taser has settled officer injury claims for nominal amounts, and even less where Taser's insurance company has settled the matter over our objections. We take an aggressive position in defending these lawsuits because we firmly believe that the allegations are without merit. And that's the response that I got to the question.
It's not
So
there
as
in
far
the
as,
report says. They just lost a big $10 million one, they lost a $6 million one, and they have something like 47 others pending.
and this is the information that was forwarded to me from them.
Yes,
I don't know if their legal,
Well, they're not gonna tell you.
all right, I don't know if their
They're
legal
gonna get it.
department is allowed to provide that information.
It's all on the web.
Um,
It's not hard to get, really. It's all over the internet. The ACLU has stuff out. It's really all over, but I've never seen it all. What I'm looking for is for it to get pulled together.
We may
And
have
look
to
at
do that
those.
ourselves.
We may have to do it myself.
I said, we may have to do that
Oh, we may have to do it
ourselves.
ourselves,
But I'm
okay.
gonna appoint you as temporary chair. I'm gonna appoint you to take care of that. And the only reason I say that is I'm not teasing you. In fact, you made a huge head start on this stuff. I think you're way ahead of where Keith would be at this point. But you're not busy or anything.
No. All right, I'll
I
do
have no
some of it.
right
I
to
mean,
speak. I have no
well,
right whatsoever to speak this way.
I mean, I'll send
Purely as
over
a matter
the
of
stuff I've
logic.
got, but I may just forward it to Leslie and ask her who would like to take it on.
That's a good idea. Fernando, someone in this agency, in this organization is gonna have to take on the job of responding to the board members' request to get as much of this information as possible.
Sure.
And Margie will lead the way in some direction.
Right,
But-
if I can get the email of the
Sure.
research you've done already, and then we'll pick up the ball from there.
Okay, as for the matter itself, I don't think we're gonna come to a conclusion today. I happen to appreciate very much that Chief Garrett came here today. I think you've advanced your arguments in a sensible and logical way. The board still has a number of questions. Margie has enumerated some. I shall tell you personally that I have a little bit of nervousness about various scenarios. What can happen, and what might, and the way it, I've seen the Taser confrontations on my computer screen, but they always tend to magnify the worst cases. I understand that. In fact, every time you see a police officer perhaps being what we might consider too aggressive, well, the judgment has been rendered. we may consider too aggressive, there could well be 100 or 1,000 cases where a taser is used wisely, humanely, and safely to knock down a person who is presenting a danger either to the officers or to himself.
Absolutely.
And I understand that too.
And there are also two
And
other
that's why I want the
points.
statistics,
No,
I don't want us
yeah.
to look at
But
this
there are
little
other two-
anecdotes here.
Exactly.
I
There are
want the
other two
statistics.
points also that I would like to make, and that is, number one, we've spoken to, the corporation has spoken to their insurance carrier, and there's no increase in the insurance premium if the officers are equipped with the taser, where,
Our insurance carrier?
yes, where the insurance would be much greater if they were issued firearms, exactly. So with the insurance company feeling that there's no need to increase the premiums, it's safe to say that they feel safe enough that they would be able to cover any lawsuit that the corporation would incur with an incident like that. Second thing I would like to say is we're not the only public safety department that's trying to be progressive in this nature. Parkchester Public Safety is also in the process of presenting to their board of directors their pitch for receiving tasers as well.
But you're in the Bronx.
Yeah, well, you know, that, you're absolutely right, but I just wanted to let you know that it's not like there was a woman in the audience who asked, who else in Manhattan that does what you do is, you know, has tasers or is putting in for tasers, and I didn't have an answer for the woman, but I called around since the meeting, and Parkchester does have a presentation, in place, and they're presenting to their board as well. So I think the movement to try to go in that direction is there by various agencies. Whether or not they get it approved or not is another story. And that's pretty much it. And if we don't approve it, you know, we're still gonna continue to do the best job that we can with what we are equipped with. I just felt that with the increase in the number of officers injured and
But we need those statistics, and also the other statistics that Margie mentioned.
move forward those immediately with regard to
Did
this.
did you discuss any, variation in,
I did. Before you arrived,
Before I
I
arrived.
indicated that we would like to change our position with regard to attempting to issue tasers to all officers and issue them to the supervisors who are more mature, more experienced, and better trained than the other officers that are on the force, and go from there, and that other departments have also started in that same manner.
Dr. Grimm,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any, Howard, do you have any thoughts on this issue?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing the presentation, the details. I'm not sufficiently informed to make a decision about it at this point, that I'd like to be more fully informed.
I mean, I think that the fact that they are decided that they will be distributed to the supervisors is a good idea. I like that idea. I like it too. And I look forward to seeing the accident reports that you have.
Okay. All right, so we'll forward that, and
We'll do
we'll
the
go
other.
from there.
What I would also add to the data is to also present to the committee the level of training that's involved.
Perfect.
In order to have some type of, I call them firearm for lack of a better term. Because there's a different category. Right now, we're peace officers,
Yes.
unarmed peace officers, but if we choose to do this, there's a whole level of training that's involved that's mandated by New York State that requires us.
Now, why is that if batons are closer to firearms?
I don't know, I mean, you can
Just because it's a newer, innovative tool, where they decided, the New York State, DCJS, Department of Criminal Justice, decided to place tasers on the force continuum was between the OC spray and the baton because of the possibility of injury, be it serious, non-serious, or even death. And that's why they placed the taser in between there. They felt like serious physical injury or death could be caused more by a strike of a baton in an area of the body as opposed to the
So
taser.
I guess my point is, shouldn't our guys, since they have batons and they have spray also, right,
Yes.
shouldn't they get that training anyway, whether we go to tasers or not?
Which training are you referring to? They are trained in all of those, in
But
the use of all
the
of them.
next level that Fernando was just talking about.
You're just talking about taser training.
Are you
They're
talking just about the
specific.
physical use of a taser?
No. There are different categories of peace officers
Right.
in the Division of Criminal Justice. There are peace officers and there are armed peace officers.
Armed peace officers, firearms.
Right.
Taser would not be
Okay,
under that category.
okay, so then
So
that
then
answers
there's,
the question.
okay.
Correct, that would not be under that category.
Okay.
But as part of our research, we can look into that as well, maybe they've changed.
The board will need to know,
So we'll find out all that
before we
information.
move forward on a decision, any decision in favor of tasers, the board would need to be reassured of the level of training that the officers will receive. So that's going to be part of your information as
Absolutely.
we move forward. Anything else on this issue that we can resolve today?
Thank you for your
Chief
time.
Bureau, thank you very much. I enjoyed your presentation. Okay,
Actually,
next.